Tanzania, Sudán del Sur, Yemen y América. Sus estudios de vida doméstica en estos países ponen en relieve el abuso físico y emocional que provocan arraigadas convenciones sociales en las personas más vulnerables, como mujeres y niños. Sinclair es también fundadora y directora ejecutiva de Too Young to Wed, organización sin fines de lucro que proporciona evidencias visuales de los problemas de derechos humanos que enfrentan las mujeres y niñas de todo el mundo. Los reconocimientos de Stephanie Sinclair ha recibido por este proyecto incluyen 3 premios World Press Photo y algunas exposiciones de prestigio en las Naciones Unidas 2014 y 2012, y la Bienal de Whitney 2010 en Nueva York, así como el premio Pulitzer 2000, entre otros. Sus fotografías se publican regularmente en revistas de gran prestigio como el National Geographic y The New York Times Magazine. Nuevamente, con los aplausos fuertes, vamos a recibir la participación de la artista invitada al FINI 2015, Stephanie Sinclair.
Hola, thank you for having me. Buenas noches. And I'm a little short here. Thank you for coming out to hear me speak about my work. I've been working on the topic of child marriage around the world for 13 years now. And I'm honored to be here at this beautiful university to show you what I've learned in my travels. And I'm going to present 3 videos tonight and some photographs. The first part will be an earlier video that I did that kind of encompasses the harmful consequences of child marriage in multiple countries. And then the second video is going to be a video that's about child marriage. Actually, I just came back from Guatemala, and so we looked at the issue there, and so that's my most recent work on this topic. But one thing I'd like to preface this with is that child marriage happens in more than 50 countries around the world. And it's not, as the video will say, it's not specific to any specific culture or religion. It's really something that all of us should care about because it really affects girls' rights. So without any further wait, I will go ahead and show you the first video.
During sex, I was crying and begging him to stop, but he didn't listen. Then he put his hand on my mouth like this. I couldn't breathe, and I was crying, but he used me anyway. And I just cried. My age is 8.
The practice of child marriage is common in many parts of the world. It's not exclusive to any particular religion or society. Despite laws that forbid it, long-held cultural traditions die hard. If the current trend continues, more than 100 million more young girls will be married over the next decade.
They were decorating my hands with nugs, but I didn't know they were going to marry me off. Then my mother came in and said, "Come on, my daughter." They were dressing me up and I was asking, "Where are you taking me?" They just said, "Come, come," and then they performed the wedding.
Child marriage occurs in more than 50 developing countries around the world, and almost always results in the girl's removal from school. What families don't realize is that by curtailing girls' education, they're only perpetuating the cycle of poverty. Still, families do this for a number of reasons. Perhaps they can't afford to feed the rest of their children. It can create family alliances, and it often settles debts. Early marriage often results in abusive and even deadly consequences. As one Afghan policewoman told me, girls are routinely seen as family burdens, while their male counterparts are seen as kings. She was later murdered by the Taliban.
I was 7, 8 when I was engaged. My father and his father, they wanted to exchange their children. That time I thought of committing suicide.
I was married when I was 7 years old. I always say God is punishing me for something.
One of the reasons that child marriage continues to prevail is the husband's family and the husband think that when they bring a girl into the family when she's so young, they can mold her to be exactly what they want her to be. And there is this sense that somehow the man is raising this child as his wife.
A good wife should be respectful of the groom's family because she's now going to live with them. We don't call a woman beautiful by her looks, but by how nicely she takes care of her house and her husband.
He was trying to have sex with me, and I was crying, and I kept struggling to free myself from him. He mocked me, saying, "Where are you going to go?" Then he used me.
I was a woman exchanged for someone else's wrongdoing. My father-in-law and my husband, they were all with the Taliban. My father-in-law took me out of the house to a mountain. I thought they would kill me or behead me. I did not think he would cut my nose and my ears. The blood came over my eyes. I didn't know where the blood was coming from.
My friends were not getting married, and it was only me, so I didn't like that. So when I saw my parents preparing the feast, I knew they were definitely going to give me to a husband. So I escaped. I was about 14. The person who gave me a ride, he raped me while we were on our way here. So I was devastated. I regret coming here, and I wish I had stayed with my family because the person who raped me didn't use a condom. He introduced me to a broker who got me this job as a prostitute. After 15 days, I found out I was pregnant. I started getting sick. I struggled as much as I could and worked as a prostitute until I was 9 months pregnant.
In some cultures, there's this myth that by marrying young virgins, AIDS will be cured. Many times they start having sex immediately because they have no control over the situation. The husband is the one who rules. Older men who have sex with younger girls tend to have sex more frequently.
I don't know how children are made, but they get pregnant and they deliver a baby. They carry it inside their stomach. Then they deliver and it comes out a baby.
I didn't want to get pregnant because I was very small. I wanted to wait until I am old enough.
Is she worried that she won't make it through the birth?
Sometimes I think I will die.
Was she hopeful for any help, or was she worried about her future?
I have never got help from anywhere until now. I don't know anyone who will help me.
The good news is that rates of child marriage are going down. The problem is we don't want to wait 50 or 100 years for child marriage to disappear. We're talking about 100 million girls who will get married as children over the next decade. We want the change to occur faster.
We were studying when my mother was still alive, but then she passed away and they don't allow me to go to school.
Education is the single largest protective factor against child marriage. Girls don't want to be child brides. Childhood is not for cooking, cleaning, and having babies. It's for education and having friends and having fun.
I pray that we will have better opportunities in the future. I pray that I'll be free from HIV when I'm tested. I also pray that the men who were very rude, who beat us, who use knives and guns to threaten us, that we will not have these men in our lives. I pray.
Thank you. Thank you very much. One thing that I wanted to point out is, and why I left the full credits to run, is none of these pictures in this project or the next videos you'll see were done without the full support of people in these communities who wanted change. So in every country that I worked on this topic, I learned, there were people who would come to me and they were working for nonprofits and NGOs that were trying to increase education in the villages where this was happening, and working to have the laws that are in place in most countries. The legal age of marriage is 18 in most countries. including Mexico, but in some other countries it's younger. But just to enforce these laws and have more resources, that people want more resources for education and opportunities, so parents aren't, so girls can have a value outside of just being able to be, to bring in a dowry in some cases, or work for a family, so that they can be educated. And so that's been the goal. This was definitely a community project, even though I'm was the person that had access to the media to be able to distribute this work worldwide. It was really the stories of the people in these photographs and their family members. Often the priests who were doing the weddings, uncles that were in the weddings, sometimes the grooms themselves, sheikhs of some of the villages. So this is, I've found that communities really want change. It's just a matter of kind of showing people that how urgent this is. A girl is married every 2 seconds against her will globally. So it is an urgent issue, particularly when they're being forced into consummating these marriages at such young ages. I'm going to show you the next video that I'm going to present is from Guatemala. I did this last summer. And this is a situation where the legal age of marriage in Guatemala is actually 14. So the goal of this was to kind of, I know there's organizations that we're partnering with who are trying to raise this legal age of marriage. And there is some progress in this film. You can at least see that there are hospitals and clinics that are starting to at least address some of the health issues that these girls are facing, because girls are more than twice as likely to die during childbirth if they're under 18. So and their children are often affected as well. So this film shows a bit of both sides. It shows the harmful consequences, but amidst some of the change that's happened, which is having some facilities, which is a good as good of a hospital. In the other countries I was at, there weren't any hospitals at all in near any of these girls who were giving birth at young ages. So this was definitely a step in the right direction. Okay.
Él me decía que tenía 34 años. Pues yo conocí cuando él vino ahí de la mamá de él. Ahí fue donde lo conocí. Y cuando él vino aquí a la casa. Yo cuando salí a estudiar, tenía como 11 años. Ahí fue donde los casamos. Y él fue el que me dejó con 4 meses de embarazo. Él decía que no era hijo de él. Uh-huh.
Erika, ¿verdad? Sí, todavía no sale leche.
Solo así, pero una ralita.
Una ralita, va, está bien. Si perdemos el ultrasonido, perdemos la edad del bebé, no sabemos cuánto tiempo tiene. Entonces, lo andan cargando, se lo muestran al médico y le dicen que se los devuelva, ¿va? Para no perderlo. Y a la próxima necesito que traiga todo.
Una niña ya tiene que lidiar con un niño. Entonces, ella es como que estuviera jugando con muñecas, ¿verdad? Entonces, eso para mí es chocante.
Una niña menor de 14 años, las niñas son fáciles de persuadir, están en total vulnerabilidad, tanto de la violencia sexual como de decidir tener una pareja. Tampoco decide el embarazo. Cuando uno sigue los casos de estas uniones tempranas o de estos embarazos, se da cuenta que en realidad la niña pierde la mayoría de sus derechos.
O si primero mira una manita o un pie, ¿verdad? Todo eso es señal de peligro. O si tiene alguna gran fiebre o un gran dolor de cabeza, todo eso es señal de peligro. Entonces tiene que ir inmediatamente al hospital. ¿Sí?
Se está tomando sus vitaminas, las que le dan aquí, o aparte tiene otras. Aquí no le han dado. Va. ¿Y qué está tomando entonces? Ah, va, eso es lo que yo le pregunto. Entonces no me diga que sí. Si no está tomando, me dice, no, no estoy tomando. Háblele a su esposo, a su familia, díganle díganles que es importante para que el bebé crezca bien. Si no, no vamos a tener un bebé muy chiquitito.
Este bebito es un bebito hijo de madre de 14 años, pesa 1.3 kilos. Está muy pequeño todavía, pulmonarmente pues todavía no está preparado. Sus músculos accesorios del tórax se cansan muy rápido. Entonces todavía no vamos a lograr quitarle el tubo hasta que él suba de peso. La mamá de 14 años, o sea, no saben en qué se están afrontando. Pues la mamá, igual una madre pues inmadura, ¿verdad? Que no conocía lo que era un embarazo. Muchas niñas en Guatemala a los 14 años ya están casadas, ya van por su segundo hijo.
Los partos normales, los partos vaginales en este caso son un poco difíciles porque la cadera no es adecuada para que el bebé sea expulsado por el canal vaginal y se conlleva a una muerte materna y a una muerte fetal. En el bebé, como estas niñas tienen un déficit de micronutrientes, pueden nacer un bebé con problemas de anencefalia, que los bebés no sobreviven casi siempre, que es lo que en la mayoría de los casos estas niñas tienen, ¿verdad?
Una niña no es capaz a los 12 o 14 años, por ejemplo, de comprar cigarros o de ir a un lugar y comprar una cerveza, o tampoco vota. ¿Cómo pueden casarla a los 14 años?
Cuando decía allá hay con un juez que lo casaran, le pagó 500 quetzales. Ahí donde le dijeron al licenciado que tenía que llevar la distinción de mi papá. Y ahí es donde nos casamos por la iglesia. Pues yo cuando me di cuenta que estaba embarazada, pues yo ya dije, no le llamaban, pero no contestaba, ni venía. Cuando estoy embarazada nunca me pasó dinero. Ni ahorita está grande el niño y cumplió su añita, ni lo vino a ver también.
Eso es normal. Guatemala es un país machista, o sea, es un país patriarcal, un país en el cual muchos hombres piensan que los cuerpos de las niñas y las mujeres son de su propiedad. Ella es mujer, le pertenece y entonces él puede decidir sobre la niña. Las niñas y las mujeres no son objetos.
Pues yo lo que espero es seguir adelante, dijo, a ver cómo saco al niño adelante, ¿va? Pues lo difícil es que es cuando él te digo yo, cuando él ya esté grande y se vaya, ahí donde me va a costar a mí. No, es que es bonito porque ya él es que me va a ayudar cuando esté más grande.
So the people who helped me with this project were, as you saw, the woman Mirna Montenegro. She works, her organization, OSAR, is actually helping a lot of, they're a network of a bunch of different organizations who are working on women's issues and health issues. And one of the, she was very helpful in this project and led me to the people who took us out into the field, which were actually government workers. So that was really good to see progress in that way. In most of the countries I was working in, there were not government workers going out and checking on girls who were giving birth at such young ages. So there is progress, and this is definitely a development issue, and you're seeing this in developing countries where there's not as many resources. The communities are not educated on why even this is bad for their children. And so that's part of our job as an organization, is to raise awareness worldwide and we have a long way to go, but it's something that we're going to keep doing until this issue comes to an end. If we could please show the video that we have, we can keep the lights on. I just want to show a small video that we did in Times Square. So this was one of the efforts that we did with the help of the UN Population Fund. We did a billboard in Times Square to start raising awareness through people just showing the pictures and having people interact with the issue. The one thing about photography, I love doing the films, but one thing about photography that's really interesting is you don't necessarily, you don't have to sit through 5-10 minutes of someone telling you something. You can address people just through images, and if you really work on it hard enough, which there's many wonderful photography students in here, then you have the power to communicate in a very short amount of time, which is very important today as we have so much communication and imagery in our life, that it's more important as photography students to use what you have, use your medium in the best way possible and say what you need to say right away. So I'm showing a few photographs now of some of the work we did and how we've exhibited this. This is an exhibition in the U.S. in our Senate building. We also had an exhibition in Geneva at the United Nations, and at the United Nations in New York. We've exhibited it at festivals and in many developing countries as well, in Zambia, in Uganda, and Sudan. We've had exhibitions and posters and murals in, this is in the Paris metro. And so really it's about raising awareness, and the power of photography with some, with just a little bit of text can show what this issue looks like. So people don't forget that this is about real girls, not just numbers. So this is our exhibition at the United Nations. Like Marcus, we are targeting politicians as well. This is the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, who opened our exhibition at the United Nations. And we are, there was our first substantial resolution to end child marriage this past November in the United Nations. So we are really targeting that. So then countries that are not enforcing these laws will start to have, and will start to address the issue, and more resources and money will be sent to the people working in the field to help educate these communities. One of the other things we're doing with our organization, Too Young to Wed, is working with young photographers to cover some of this as well, because I'm just one person, and this is, like I said earlier, a girl is married every 2 seconds against her will around the world. And so it's an urgent issue that needs to be addressed as much as possible. So this is a photographer we sent to cover. Her name is Nusha Tavakolian, and we covered this. This is an organization in Kenya that is rescuing girls. So when girls run away from their marriages or are having distress, and go to the police, they have somewhere to go, because oftentimes the family will feel dishonored if the girl runs away, or she'll be maybe subject to violence for running away and causing them stress and humiliation. So this is actually a young girl who ran away, and this is actually during a rescue. And one of the other things we're doing at Too Young to Wed is providing some actual funding. So we're supporting this safe house for girls financially as well, with paying for some of their rent and food. And what they do at this safe house is they take these girls in. There's about 30 girls living there at one time, and then they put them in boarding school. And this way, and they negotiate with their families and try to help them realize that the girls need to be educated, that they'll be more helpful to their societies if they are educated. So these are some photographs that Nusha just did, and this is being sent out sent to the media for this story to be shared. And it's also we're working with 700 African nonprofits who are looking at the issue of child marriage and another issue called female genital mutilation, which is so often done to prepare girls for marriage at young ages. So I'm going to show you one more video, and then I will take some questions. And this is, I'm showing this video to show that change is happening, which is what's so exciting. So I'll go ahead and start that now. Okay.
Can I hear her count to 10 for me, please? एक बार 1 से 10 तक गिनती गिन लो. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. थोड़ी जोर से
जब मेरी शादी होने वाली, जब मेरी 14 वर्ष की उम्र थी. बहुत दुख होते हैं, छोटी उम्र में बच्चे हो जाते हैं, उनसे संभाल नहीं पाते हैं. प्रॉब्लम थी, चूल्हे संभालने पड़ते हैं, खेती कमाई से संभालना. सारे काम पड़ जाते.
लड़की को देखा था, मेरी सिस्टर थी वो, 10-12 साल की होगी वो, ज्यादा बच्चे हो गए, फिर वो कमजोर पड़ गई, तो फिर घर वालों शादी करा रही थी जबरदस्ती।
मेरी उम्र 11 थी जब शादी की बात हुई थी। डर तो लगा था, हमने कह रहे हमको नहीं करनी शादी, बोल दिया। मेरे को पढ़ना था। बारह साल में शादी हो रही, शादी कर रही थी। 6 महीना रही मेरी बात, शादी की बात થઈ रही थी। शादी में नहीं करना चाहता था।
वो एक इंसान आया था मेरे घर पे, वो बोल रहा था शादी तुम्हारी लड़की को करोगी।
वो मेरे घर वाले नहीं कि मेरे पिताजी था, वो उसने कहा क्योंकि ये खेती भी करनी पड़ती है, इसीलिए वो ने कहा कि बहुत काम करना पड़ेगा, इसीलिए उसने शादी करवा देंगे ऐसे कह रहे थे।
छोटी उम्र में शादी हो जाती है तो बहुत ससुराल वाले ससुराल भेज देते हैं, वो बहुत दुख हो जाती है। ऐसे कि जल्दी ससुराल भेज देते हैं, फिर सारा काम हमारे ऊपर पड़ जाता है।
शादी हो जाती, बच्चा हो जाता, अच्छा नहीं लगता।
नानी सब बच्ची से नानी बच्ची क्यों रखता हूँ, सब बूढ़ा हो जाता।
जब बच्चे हो जाएंगे तो वो भी बच्चा, मैं भी बच्चा, मैं क्या कैसे पालन करूंगा यूं।
पढ़ता आगे थे, पढ़ ना करता या वो अनपढ़ थे, बस हो गया।
मैं चाहता हूँ मेरी बीबी पढ़ी लिखी।
हमको लगता है कि बच्चे भी कर सकते हैं अपने माता पिता को शादी के लिए।
कुछ भी बन सकती हूँ ना, पढ़ाई करके अपन पढ़ाई करेंगे कुछ भी बन सकते हैं, लेकिन
मैं मना कर दिया नहीं करनी शादी में।
मैंने शादी करने के लिए मना बोला।
नहीं मैं तो बच्ची, इसलिए मैंने शादी का मना कर।
So that's my presentation, but I'm sure that you have questions, so I'm happy to answer those.
Well, I'm Ricardo Daniel, and I have a question for you. How do the parents stand by, well, these new ideas from their children, from a revolution or that kind of thing is what you're trying to do, no? With well, all the injustice that they are keeping with their families. But what was the first idea or the first thing that the parents thought about it?
I don't totally, can you repeat that a little, like I'm not 100% clear?
That how the parents stand, or what do they say to you about the idea that they will not be able to be married anymore at that age? what was the first thing that they said?
Okay. Well, so what I found in covering this topic was that some of the parents didn't even the parents who were marrying their girls off to very old men, some of them, I had one father say, do you think I want to marry my daughter off at this age? But we can't feed the rest of our children. So in some cases, it was due to poverty. In another case, I had a woman who was a mother to a young girl say that now that this girl was married, that she was no longer hers and that she didn't want to continue the girl's education because she didn't see the value of a girl in the family. And that's in a very patriarchal community. But but in the same country, that happened in India, in the same country with these girls and young boys, because sometimes the boys are married young there, they're saying no, and sometimes it's embraced by the family. One girl I met, though, threatened her family with a rock, to hit them in the head with a rock. So she was very aggressive about it. Another girl, but I don't really think personally that it should just be on the children's responsibility. They need support from their teachers and from organizations working in the communities. But I do think there is value to girls and young boys in these situations to say no and to be aware of resources that are out there that will help them stand up for themselves. So one of the other things that we're doing as an organization is starting to support girl empowerment groups, because boys have a lot more opportunities to feel strong about their opinion, but girls in a lot of these countries have less, their voices don't carry as much weight. They tend to not be respected as much when they speak. And so we're in those girl empowerment groups, they're learning about doctors, the school teachers who can help them, NGOs that can help them, different resources, social workers like the ones you saw in Guatemala, going into the villages, so they have support if they don't want this. I hope that helps. Any other questions right here?
It was an amazing project. I was just impressed with this. And I have a question. Why did you decide to make these videos?
I decided to make the videos because I've been working as a photographer for many years, for like 20 years, and I still do photographs with all of these videos that I've been doing. I'm just also working with a videographer. But, and unlike, I love Marcus, who spoke yesterday, but unlike him, I do think that photojournalism is very powerful as a tool in the media. And I think that this is part of what has gotten, governments to start paying attention to the human rights abuses that can happen with child marriage. And the videos, I think, are important because when I was listening to these stories and hearing them say it in their own words was important to me. And hearing how small their voices were, but in some cases how powerful their voices were, especially in the last video, that one girl's like, she's like, I don't want to get married, so I think that there's that voice and video can do different things. They're all different tools. And I think in today's media, we have so much media, it's good to have different disciplinaries. Other questions? Wow. Okay. Well, the last thing I want to say is, I've had a few people do interviews with me on this topic since I've been here, and I wanted to say that child marriage is also, and like I said, it's an issue in many countries. We actually have it in the U.S. And I'm working on that project now. It's in some conservative societies, it's in some immigrant communities, but it also happens in Mexico, 1 in 4 girls actually are married beneath the age of 18 in Mexico. And like I said, I think it's important to see, you saw for yourselves how this can hold communities back. And the point of providing visual evidence is to empower people who now know about this to join our campaign and to share what they know and to be involved. And we're very happy for anyone who wants to learn more about this issue to go to our website, tooyoungtowed.org, or to just be involved and share this issue with people you know, or as photographers, document this issue, document solutions to this issue, talk about it with your friends and family. And like I said, this is never meant to be a criticism to any society. Like I said, we have it in my own country, and we still have laws that we need to change there. We have 2 states that it's permissible to be married at the age of 13. So everyone's got a long way to go, but the more rights that people have, that girls have, because they don't have the same rights as men globally in any country. And the more rights they have, the better our whole planet will be. So I appreciate your time and your attention to this issue and this wonderful invitation to be part of this beautiful festival. So thank you so much.
A continuación se hará entrega de un reconocimiento. El reconocimiento a la letra dice: la Universidad Autónoma del Estado de Hidalgo, su patronato y el Festival Internacional de la Imagen otorgan el presente reconocimiento a Stephanie Sinclair por presentación de proyecto Too Young to Wed en el marco del FINI 2015, Pachuca de Soto Hidalgo, 12 de mayo del año 2015, firma el maestro Humberto Augusto Veras Godoy, rector de la Universidad Autónoma del Estado de Hidalgo, y con su representación le pedimos a la doctora Lidia Rasfeld, directora del Parque Científico de esta Casa de Estudios, haga entrega de este reconocimiento. Este reconocimiento. Fuerte los aplausos para la participación de Stephanie Sinclair. Ahí está la toma de la fotografía oficial de la entrega de este reconocimiento. A todos ustedes por su presencia, muchas gracias. Muy buenas noches.